going to try to get to some questions here. We have a few minutes left, and I'm going to present the question to one of you, and the other is, of course, welcome to weigh in, and we'll see how far we can get with the time. So, Shabbir, you're going first with this question. Is it common for a company to obtain both a SOC 1 and a SOC 2 report?
Yes, in a nutshell. As I mentioned in my segment, depending on the services that a company is offering, either a SOC 1 or SOC 2 report or both would be applicable. Going back to my payroll processor as a service organization, a SOC 1 with the audience of the customer that's relying on the report and their auditors to gain comfort that payroll information is being processed in a complete and accurate and timely manner. A SOC 1 report would provide some more details on the controls that meet those objectives. And a SOC 2 report would talk about the security aspects of how that data that's being hosted, payroll data, social security numbers, employee names, things like that, how those controls are in place to secure that data. So it's very common for companies, and I have many clients that get both the SOC 1 and SOC 2 due to the different purpose and the audience that's relying on the report for various reasons.
Thank you for that. Steve, if you have something you'd like to add to having both the SOC 1 and a SOC 2, or I have a fresh question for you.
No, you can jump. That was a great summary. You can jump to a question.
Okay, so then this question comes, can my company develop its own criteria for the assertion?
That's a great question. There are standards that exist for criteria, and that's why those criteria come from typically the American Institute of CPAs. A company can include their own criteria, but there are standards that have to be met, meaning that those criteria have to be observable, that the user entity would have to be able to identify those criteria and make them available to the general public. That's why it typically doesn't happen unless there's a really specific circumstance why that's needed.
Okay, very good. I'm going to go back to Shabbir now. We're going to talk about a SOC 3 report. Can I have a SOC 3 report only?
Yes, you can. I typically do not recommend it because if you're going through a SOC 3 report, that can only be done from a type 2. Once again, a type 2 is testing controls at your company, at the service organization over a period of time. So if you're going to go through the work efforts of getting your controls tested from a SOC 3 perspective that you can freely distribute on your website or circulate freely, you're also better off just getting a SOC 2 as well, since a SOC 2 will provide, even though it's a restricted report, it will provide more details of your system description and the associated controls, whereas a SOC 3, although on the back end the auditors are performing similar testing to a SOC 2 type 2, the SOC 3 report is actually a bit redacted in some of the information because it's publicly distributed. So yes, you can get a SOC 3 report only, but if you are getting a SOC 3 report, you're also better off getting a SOC 2 report because if it's not requested now, it will be requested eventually.
Thank you for that, Shabbir. One final question for Steve. Steve, we've got about a minute left. We're a startup and small. Can we still have a SOC engagement performed?
The answer to that is absolutely. We have startups in various industries who have done this, who have issued SOC reports. And the key is really using the ideas that I had laid out, standard templates, bringing on third-party advisors, using other subservice organizations, and using tools like Zendesk, Microsoft Planner. So the answer is absolutely yes. It does take a little planning and effort, though.